Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about Pitney Bowe's products that we're going to propose for the India ID. We have a attacher system going into a Flowmaster. So first let's talk about the job that we're doing. We have a carrier, that is this, that has the 1D barcode in two different locations. We have the card that we are putting down on the bottom. We're gluing it, and then we're turning the piece over and we're inserting it into an envelope, as shown here. The final product that we have is this, with the address being shown here, and the card down on the bottom of the insert. So let's talk about the equipment that we're proposing first. We have a single attacher with a high capacity conveyor here. So what this allows you to do is take a whole lot of product, load it up, and then feed out each piece individually across here. And what happens is your piece feeds out, a sensor sees it, glue is put on the piece, a card is fed out via vacuum. We use vacuum on our card feeder so we don't scratch the cards, unlike a friction feeder. The card is put on. We have a line scan camera where we verify that the card matches the carrier. We have to have 30 inches of room between the divert and the camera, so this gives us plenty of room here. If there is not a match or there is a misread, it will divert the piece into the bin. Okay? If the piece passes inspection, we then turn the piece over using our turnover here. I've got the piece open so you can see what happens as it goes through. And then it hands the piece off into our new FBI, which what this does is this takes the piece and then singulates it into a stream into our inserter. We have a camera here that allows us to monitor the height of the stack height and monitor that so we can achieve a standard stack height at all times and give signals back to the rest of the machine telling it whether to run product or not run product on demand of this. For this demonstration we're using a 12-station inserter. For what we're suggesting you use is a 3-station, because you only have one card that you have to feed out with only one card feeder. Unfortunately, it's the end of the year for us, so we've got a lot of heavy demand, and this machine just happened to be standing on the floor. But essentially, it's the exact same thing you would have. The Flowmaster is built in for high capacity, long runs. It has a long envelope conveyor, so what you can do is load up all your envelopes. Now, one of the problems that we were having with the envelopes, and probably because it's coming from India and Florida, is we had a lot of the envelopes that were sticking closed. So this was causing issues with us opening the flap. For the demonstration, we've had to manually go through and make sure that the envelopes are correct. The piece. Your piece with the card would come down the track face down into the insertion area, where the inserter pulls a piece, opens the envelope up, and the piece then is inserted into the envelope. We do this with a couple different ways. We have vacuum plates at the insertion area that suck the envelope down. We have fingers that come into the envelope that open the envelope, and then we have a pusher finger that pushes the piece in. We then have a brush that will seal the envelope and close the envelope, and then send it down the way through a turnover that will turn the piece back over, pressing the envelope closed to make sure that it seals correctly. We also then have another divert downstream, which we don't show in this video, that would come with the piece as well. If you wanted to downstream, you could also add another camera to verify that which pieces made it all the way through the inserting if you were doing a database lookup and verification that every piece was run. Okay? Now we'll go in and actually show the system running. We have a piece feeding out of the feeder, running across, glue is being applied, the cards are now feeding out onto the piece, the carrier, and the camera system is verifying. You see a stop in the flow because the sensor at the inserter is sending a signal back that the feeder hopper is full at this time, so the attacher will stop and wait for the feeder to fill back up and wait for that sensor. case, what we did, in order to fool the camera, we turned a couple of the pieces upside down so that they would diverge. You can see it actually did that. Here we see the sensor that senses the stack height in the feeder, so we keep a constant even flow. And our bindery interface piece that takes it up. Pieces coming out of the turnover. All the way out to the exit. Here we are at the FeedMax high capacity feeder, watching the carriers feed out. You can see it's got a jog plate that goes back and forth here, right here, and that ensures that it loosens it up and feeds the pieces out. Here we're on the divert showing any misreads or mismatches.